Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters. Our video for today will be about our prophet Nuh or Noah alayhi salam, the third of the 25th recorded Islamic prophets and the first of the messengers with steadfast resolution, which in Arabic Ulul Azm. And I think you have to watch the previous videos of the playlist as it would explain a lot for you. So without further ado, let's start our video. What's the meaning of Ulul Azm, or the messengers with a steadfast resolution? In the tapestry of prophetic history, certain individuals stand out for their extraordinary perseverance and resilience, known as the messengers of the steadfast resolution, Ulul Azm. These prophets exemplify the pinnacle of determination in the face of immense trials. Among them, the prophet Nuh alayhi salam, whose life embodies the essence of unwavering faith and commitment to Allah's command. The Ulul Azm are distinguished not just by their prophethood, but by their magnitude of the challenges they faced and their steadfastness in overcoming them. They are models of patience, courage, and unwavering dedication to conveying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's message regardless of the opposition or hardships encountered. So from here, let's start our story of Nuh alayhi salam. In the earliest epochs of human existence, societies flourished with innovations and communal bonds. Yet, beneath the surface of progress lay a growing void, a detachment from the innate recognition of the one true God, Allah. As generations distanced themselves from the time of Adam, a creeping amnesia of divine purpose took hold. And at that time there were 5 faithful men called Wad, Suwa', Yaghuth, Ya'uq, and Nasr. These men were very faithful to Allah and all people loved them very much. When these revered individuals passed away, their people were deeply grieved by their loss, seeking to honor their memory and keep their legacy alive. They desired ways to remember them. At that moment, seizing the opportunity to mislead, Shaitan came to them in the form of a human being, suggested to the people at the time that they should erect statues of these men in the places where they used to sit and preach. The idea was presented as a means to inspire people to worship Allah as these righteous men did, without any harm. The people agreed and crafted statues bearing the likeness of Wad, Suwa', Yaghuth, Ya'uq, and Nasr. Initially, these statues served as mere reminders of their piety and weren't objects of worship. But, brothers and sisters, focus with me here. How Shaitan is working, how he is whispering to all as small things won't matter from your point of view. But a long time, it will be bigger and bigger, eventually turning it into a huge sin. As time passed and generations succeeded one another, the original purpose of these statues was forgotten. And here it is. The descendants didn't recall the stories of the righteous men, but saw the statues as deities. And Shaitan didn't stop there. Shaitan then inspired the later generations to begin worshipping these statues as gods. People started to offer prayers, sacrifices, and supplications to them, believing they could intercede with Allah on their behalf. At this moment, idolatry entrenched itself within the culture fabric, leading to spiritual corruption. The unity of worship Allah alone was fragmented and the moral compass of humanity skewed. Injustice became commonplace, greed overshadowed generosity, and the strong subjected the weak. And this period lasted, as Ibn Abbas said, about 10 Qurun. And some said Qarn is a century and the others said that Qarn is a generation. Whatever the period it is, it was a long time between Sayyiduna Adam and Sayyiduna Nuh alayhi salam. So, amidst this descent, Allah chose a man of profound integrity to rekindle the flame of monotheism. Nuh, peace be upon him. His selection was a beacon of hope, signaling an opportunity for redemption. So, as a start, who was Nuh? Full name of Nuh is Nuh, son of Lamik, son of Machaulah, son of Idris, the second prophet of the last video, son of Yared, son of Mikhlail, son of Qinan, son of Anush, son of Sheeth, son of Adam, father of the humanity, the first Islamic prophet, and we have made a video about him and his story. You can go watch it and then return to here again to fully understand the rhythm of the full story. So, he is from a direct descent of Adam alayhi salam, and he is from Ulul Azm, as I mentioned earlier. They are 5 prophets who faced a major challenge from their people during Da'wah. They got a lot of patience, courage, and unwavering dedication to conveying Allah's message. Prophet Nuh's inclusion among these eminent messengers is rooted in his 950 years of relentless effort to guide his people to the path of monotheism. قال الله تعالى: وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَى قَوْمِهِ فَلَبِثَ فِيهِمْ أَلْفَ سَنَةً إِلَّا 50 عَامًا. We sent Nuh to his people and he stayed among them for 1,000 years minus 50 years. Then the deluge swept them, for they were wrongdoers. His mission was not a fleeting endeavor, but a prolonged struggle that spanned nearly a millennium, a testament to his extraordinary patience and steadfastness. So he came to them and said, قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ أَنْ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاتَّقُوهُ وَأَطِيعُونَ. O my people, indeed I am to you a clear warner. Worship Allah, fear him, and obey me. They said to him, قال الملأ من قومه إنا لنراك في ضلال مبين. Indeed, we see you are in clear error. He said, قال يا قوم ليس بي ضلالة ولكني رسول من رب العالمين. But they denied him a lot. Despite his sincerity and the clarity of his message, Nuh faced persistent rejection. His people, brothers and sisters, ridiculed him, accused him of madness, and dismissed his warnings as mere fabrications. Yet he remained undeterred. His patience wasn't passive endurance, but an active commitment to his duty. He continually sought new ways to reach his people, calling them openly and privately, appealing to their reason and emotions, warning them of the consequences of disbelief, and reminding them of Allah's mercy if they would only repent. Understanding the complexities of human nature throughout the 950 years of da'wah, Nuh tailored his message to resonate with diverse audiences. He highlighted the signs in the natural world, the celestial bodies in their orbits, the alternation of night and day, the provision of substance from the earth. أَلَمْ تَرَوْا كَيْفَ خَلَقَ اللَّهُ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ طِبَاقًا وَجَعَلَ الْقَمَرَ فِيهِنَّ نُورًا وَجَعَلَ الشَّمْسَ سِرَاجًا. Do you not see how Allah created the 7 heavens in layers and made the moon a live trine and made the sun burning lamp? He reminded them of their origins, the fragility of life, and the certainty of death and resurrection. His eloquence wasn't merely in words, but in the sincerity that permitted his every expression. Nuh led by example, embodying the principles he preached. His life was a testament to integrity, mercy, and unwavering devotion. Despite his effort, the ruling class perceived Nuh as a threat to their authority. His call to monotheism undermined the very foundation of their power, control through superstition and the manipulation of religious sentiments. فقال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه ما نراك إلا بشرا مثلنا وما نراك اتبعك إلا الذين هم أراذلنا بادي الرأي وما نرى لكم علينا من فضل بل نظنكم كاذبين. But the eminent ones who disbelieved among his people said, we don't see you but as a man like ourselves, and we don't see you followed except by those who are the lowest of us, and they are of immature judgment, and we don't see in you any merit over us. Rather, we think you are liars. The opposition employed various tactics: ridicule, intimidation, and even persecution of the believers. They appealed to pride and tribal loyalties, framing Nuh's message as an affront to ancestral heritage. Nuh's answer for them was, ويا قوم لا أسألكم عليه مالا إن أجري إلا على الله وما أنا بطارد الذين آمنوا إنهم ملاقو ربهم ولكني أراكم قوما تجهلون. O my people, I don't ask you for wealth in return. My reward is only from Allah, and I'm not one to drive away those who have believed. They will meet their Lord. This wasn't a supplication of vengeance, but a recognition that his people had reached a point of no return. Their continued existence only propagated corruption and suffering. Yet Nuh's response was one of patience and resilience. He remained undeterred, his focus unwavering. For 950 years, Nuh dedicated himself to his mission. Imagine with me the weight of nearly a millennium spent in relentless pursuit of guiding others, often met with hostility and derision. He witnessed the cycle of life unfold repeatedly: births, deaths, marriages, yet the hearts of the majority remained hardened. At that moment, brothers and sisters, Nuh in despair said to Allah, قال ربي إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا فلم يزدهم دعائي إلا فرارا. My Lord, I invited my people night and day, but my invitation increased them not except in flight. قال نوح ربي إنهم عصوني واتبعوا من لم يزده ماله وولده إلا خسارا. Nuh then said, My Lord, indeed they have disobeyed me and followed him, whose wealth and the children won't increase him except in loss. وَمَكَرُوا مَكْرًا كُبَّارًا. And they conspired an immense conspiracy. وَقَالُوا لَا تَذَرُنَّ آلِهَتَكُمْ وَلَا تَذَرُنَّ وَدًّا وَلَا سُوَاعًا وَلَا يَغُوثَ وَيَعُوقَ وَنَصْرًا. And they said, Never leave your gods, and never leave Waddan or Suwa'an or Yaghutha and Ya'uqa and Nasra. The sheer duration of his mission underscored his steadfast resolution. Generations were born and buried, yet Nuh's dedication never wavered. He witnessed the cycle of life unfold repeatedly, each time renewing his commitment to guide his people. The trials he faced weren't limited to public rejection. They penetrated his personal life, testing his emotional fortitude. His own family members, including his wife and son, denied his message. Yet, even these profound personal losses didn't deter him from fulfilling his prophetic mission. قال ربي إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا. He said, My Lord, indeed I invited my people to truth night and day. فلم يزدهم دعائي إلا فرارا. But my invitation increased them not except in flight from the truth. وإني كلما دعوتهم لتغفر لهم جعلوا أصابعهم في آذانهم واستغشوا ثيابهم وأصروا واستكبروا استكبارا. And indeed, every time I invited them that you may forgive them, they put their fingers in their ears, covered themselves with their garments, persisted, and were arrogant with great arrogance. Even they threatened him. قالوا لئن لم تنتهي يا نوح لتكونن من المرجومين. They said, if you don't desist, O Nuh, you will surely be among those who are stoned. Moreover, they asked him to bring Allah's punishment if he was truthful. فأتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من الصادقين. So bring upon us what you threaten us with, if you should be of the truthful. This isolation could have led many to despair, but Nuh's faith was anchored in his trust in Allah. He understood that guidance comes from the divine and that his role was to convey the message to the best of his ability. Ultimately, when it became clear that his people wouldn't believe except for a few. And here, brothers and sisters, Allah told Nuh that وَأُوحِيَ إِلَى نُوحٍ أَنَّهُ لَن يُؤْمِنَ مِنْ قَوْمِكَ إِلَّا مَنْ قَدْ آمَنَ فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. And it was revealed to Nuh that none will believe from your people except those who have already believed. So do not be distressed by what they have been doing. And that moment, Nuh turned to Allah with a supplication born not out from vengeance but of concern for future generations. وقال نوح ربي لا تذر على الأرض من الكافرين ديارا. And Nuh said, My Lord, don't leave upon the earth from among the disbelievers an inhabitant. إنك إن تذرهم يضلوا عبادك ولا يلد إلا فاجرا كفارا. Indeed, if you leave them, they will mislead your servants and not beg except wicked disbeliever. Allah responded by instructing Nuh to build the ark. واصنع الفلك بأعيننا ووحينا ولا تخاطبني في الذين ظلموا إنهم مغرقون. And construct the ship under our observation and our inspiration, and do not address me concerning those who have wronged. Indeed, they are to be drowned. A directive he followed without hesitation. Despite the ridicule it brought, his compliance exemplified his unwavering submission to Allah's command, a hallmark of the Ulul Azm prophets. So, after 950 years of patience, challenges and steadfastness in da'wah, Nuh started to build the Fulk, al-Ark in English. The ark was to be built on high ground, away from any water bodies, a fact that fueled further mockery from the disbelievers. But the disbeliever wouldn't let Nuh start building an ark in the middle of the desert in peace. Picture this with me. Nuh spent 950 years trying to convey the message of Tawheed, monotheism, to his people, working as a shepherd in the desert all the while. Then, in a moment, he just stops and starts building a massive ship right there in the middle of nowhere. No water in sight, no prior shipbuilding skills, nothing except his unwavering faith in Allah's wisdom. Now, imagine another thing with me. Someone stumbling upon him, seeing this giant ship taking shape in the dry land. Every time one of his people passed by, they couldn't help but mock him, thinking he had lost his mind. They probably thought Nuh had completely lost it. ويصنع الفلك وكلما مر عليه ملأ من قومه سخروا منه قال إن تسخروا منا فإنا نسخر منكم كما تسخرون. And he constructed the ship, and whenever an assembly of the eminent of his people passed by him, they ridiculed him. He said, If you ridicule us, then we will ridicule you just as you ridicule. Don't worry, Nuh, we know. But let's stop here and dig deeper about the ark itself. In the Quran, the ark is described as being built from planks and nails. In Surah Al-Qamar, the ark is referred to as, and we carried him on a ship made of planks and nails. وحملناه على ذات ألواح ودسر. This description suggests a sturdy wooden structure, likely from materials available in Nuh's region. The ark was built to be strong and durable, able to withstand the torrential rains and wave that would soon follow. So, what about its size? The Quran doesn't specify the exact dimensions or shape of the ark. However, it's understood to have been large enough to accommodate not only Prophet Nuh, his family, and the believers, but also bears of all kinds of animals, as mentioned in Surah Hud. حتى إذا جاء أمرنا وفار التنور قل نحمل فيها من كل زوجين اثنين وأهلك إلا من سبق عليه قول ومن آمن وما آمن معه إلا قليل. The construction continued until when our command came and the oven overflowed. We said, Load upon the ship of each creature 2 mates and your family, except those about whom the word of punishment has preceded, and include whoever has believed. But none had believed with him except a few. While we don't know its exact size, the sheer scope of the ark must have been substantial to hold such a large number of living beings. Some Islamic traditions suggest that the ark had multiple levels or decks, with the animals kept in one section and the people in another. Though not definitive, this aligns with the practical need to separate the humans from the animals during such a long and challenging journey. So let's back to our main story. As the ark neared completion, signs emerged, subtle to some, glaring to others. حتى إذا جاء أمرنا وفار التنور. when our command came and the oven overflowed, and that was the sign for Noah that now animals began migrating toward the ark, guided by an unseen command. A few hearts softened, contemplating the possibility that Noah's warnings held truth. Yet societal pressures and fear of ostracism kept many from embracing belief. Then the appointed time arrived. Water erupted from the earth's depths, an oven overflowing, and the heavens unleashed torrents without respite. The ark carried Noah, the believer, and the animals through a colossal, world-altering flood. The flood waters were so overwhelming that they rose to cover the land, even the mountains. The Quran described the magnitude of the event in the Surah Al-Qamar. فَفَتَحْنَا أَبْوَابَ السَّمَاءِ بِمَاءٍ مُنْهَمِرٍ وَفَجَّرْنَا الْأَرْضَ عُيُونًا فَالْتَقَى الْمَاءُ عَلَى أَمْرٍ قَدْ قُدِرَ. So we opened the gates of the heaven with pouring rain and caused the earth to gush forth with springs. So the waters meet for a matter already predestined. Those who had scoffed now faced the terrifying reality. The mighty and the meek alike were powerless against the deluge. But the decree had been set. Noah's compassion was immense, but he couldn't alter Allah's command. Noah's family was among those who were meant to board the ark, but not all. His wife, who had disbelieved in the message, where Allah mentioned her in Quran. ضرب الله مثلا الذين كفروا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط كانتا تحت عبدين من عبادنا صالحين فخانتهما فلم يغنيا عنهما من الله شيئا وقيل ادخلا النار مع الداخلين. Allah sets forth an example for those who disbelieve. The wife of Noah and the wife of Lot. They were under two of our righteous servants, but betrayed them. So they do not avail them from Allah at all. And it was said, into the fire with those who enter. So his wife was a lost cause, and one of his sons, Canaan, also known as Yam, in some accounts, refused to believe and were thus excluded from the ark. Now, brothers and sisters, picture this scene with me. Imagine how heavy this moment must have been for Prophet Noah. The waters are rising like mountains, waves towering, and the world is drawing. Amid all this, Noah is witnessing it firsthand. But his own son refuses to believe him, refuses to accept that this is the end, and that the only salvation today is the ark. So Noah tells his son, يا بني اركب معنا ولا تكن مع الكافرين. And Noah called to his son who has borrowed from them, Oh my son, come aboard with us and be not with the disbelievers. His son answers him, قال سآوي إلى جبل يعصمني من الماء. I will take refuge on a mountain to protect me from the water. Noah said, قال لا عاصم اليوم من أمر الله إلا من رحم. There is no protector today from the decree of Allah except for whom He gives mercy. At that very moment, brothers and sisters, the waves began to swallow Noah's son. Imagine the immense heartache Noah must have been felt. His own son refusing to believe in him, being swept away right in front of his eyes. The tragedy and pain in Noah's heart must have been overwhelming. وحال بينهما الموج فكان من المغرقين. And the wave came between them and he was among the drowned. At that moment Noah turned to Allah and asked him, ونادى نوح ربه فقال رب إن ابني من أهلي وإن وعدك الحق وأنت أحكم الحاكمين. And Noah called him to his Lord and said, My Lord, indeed my son is of my family, and indeed your promise is true and you are the most just of judges. But Allah responded with, قال يا نوح إنه ليس من أهلك إنه عمل غير صالح فلا تسألن ما ليس لك به علم إني أعظك أن تكون من الجاهلين. Allah said, O Noah, indeed he is not of your family. Indeed he is one of whose work was other than righteous. So don't ask me about that of which you have no knowledge. Indeed I advise you lest you be among the ignorant. In that profound moment, brothers and sisters, Noah understood the limits of his influence. Guidance is bestowed by Allah, and even the bonds of blood do not guarantee faith. The flood was massive and catastrophic. The Quran describes it as waves like mountains. The waters covered everything, and all those who had rejected Noah's message were drowned. Global flood, in the sense that it affected Noah's people and land, designed to cleanse the earth from corruption and disobedience. The exact duration of the flood journey is not detailed in the Quran. However, Ark safely navigated through the raging waters and storm. Life aboard the Ark was microcosm of harmony. Despite the uncertainty, there was a prevailing sense of peace, rooted to interest in Allah's plan. When the purpose of the flood was fulfilled, Allah commanded the earth to swallow its water and the sky to withhold its rain. وَقِيلَ يَا أَرْضُ ابْلَعِي مَاءَكِ وَيَا سَمَاءُ اقْلَعِي وَغِيضَ الْمَاءُ وَقُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ وَاسْتَوَتْ عَلَى الْجُودِ وَقِيلَ بُعْدًا لِلْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. And it was said, O earth, swallow your water, and O sky, withhold your rain. And the water subsided, and the matter was accomplished. And the ship came to rest on the mountain of Judi, and it was set away with the wrongdoing people, which is traditionally believed to be in present day in Turkey or Iraq. There, Nuh and the believers disembarked safe from the flood. Once the flood water receded, Nuh and those who were saved began to repopulate the earth. The survivors were tasked with establishing a new, righteous society based on belief in Allah. The believers stepped onto a cleansed earth, the air filled with a scent of renewal. The silence was profound, a moment of gratitude and awe. With a fresh start, the survivors endeavored to establish a society grounded in justice, compassion, and the worship of Allah alone. This new beginning was not merely physical, but spiritual. The lessons of the past were heeded and a covenant was established, a promise between Allah and humanity. قيل يا نوح اهبط بسلام منا وبركات عليك وعلى من معك. It was said, O Nuh, disembark from the ship in security from us and blessings upon you and upon nations descending from those with you. As a sign of His mercy, Allah set forth a symbol, a covenant that He wouldn't destroy humanity with a flood again. The rainbow became a timeless emblem of divine mercy, a reminder that despite humanity's flaws, Allah's compassion prevails. Nuh lived for many years after the flood, guiding his people, nurturing the foundations of a just society. He had 4 sons, Sam, Ham, Japheth, and the ripple Canaan. Who was the new earth population is from these 3 sons. When his time came, Nuh departed from this world, leaving behind a legacy that would echo through the corridors of history. Some historical accounts suggested that Prophet Nuh, peace be upon him, passed away a long time after the flood and was buried in certain location. But these accounts are not based on confirmed texts from the Quran or authentic hadith. Among the most well-known places believed to contain the tomb of Prophet Nuh are Mount Judi, where the Ark came to rest, or other locations such as Lebanon or Iraq. However, these are merely claims and there is no conclusive evidence for them. Conclusion. The story of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam teaches us several key lessons. Patience and perseverance. Nuh spent 950 years calling his people to faith, showing immense patience in the face of rejection and mockery. Reliance on Allah. Nuh trusted and obeyed Allah completely, even when instructed to build an ark, despite no visible signs of a flood. Faith and righteousness deeds. Salvation depends on faith and good deeds, not lineage, as demonstrated by Nuh's son, who wasn't saved due to his disbelief. Victory for the righteous. In the end, Allah granted victory to the believers and punished the disbelievers, showing that righteousness ultimately prevails. Mercy and compassion. Nuh's persistence in guiding his people with kindness teaches the importance of compassion, even when he faced with rejection. Warring against sin. The stubbornness of Nuh's people serves as a warning of the consequences of rejecting the truth. Acceptance of Allah's decree. Nuh accepted Allah's wisdom even when his own son perished, teaching trust and contentment with Allah's decisions. The voyage continues and the lessons endure. And this brings us to the end of our story for today, brothers and sisters. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share this valuable information with our brothers and sisters to spread the knowledge of our great religion, Islam. Salam.